Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajacharya Stotra Shatar Shri Srimad His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai Shri Shri Radha Gopinath Bhagavan Ki Jai Kantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Samaveda Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Nitai Gaur Premanandi Hari Bol. Okay, Hare Krishna, welcome to today's Srimad Bhagavatam class. We'll be reading from Canto 4, Chapter 14, verse 23. Please repeat after me. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Okay, together we'll chant Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamadhirayet Nashta Prayeshva Badreshu Nityam Bhagavata Shevaya Bhagavati Uttamashloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. Okay. Vena Uvacha Balisha Batayuyam Va Adharme Dharma Maninaha Ye Vritidham Patim Hitva Jaram Patim Upashate Vena Uvacha Balisha Batayuyam Va Adharme Dharma Maninaha Ye Vritidam Patim Hitva Jaram Patim Upashate Balisha Batayuyam Va Adharme Dharma Maninaha Ye Vritidam Patim Hitva Jaram Patim Upashate. Vena Vacha Vena Vacha Vena Vacha Balisha Batayuyam Va Adharme Dharma Maninaha Ye Vritidam Patim Hitva jaram patim upasate. So we'll go through the word for word. Vena, King Vena. Uvacha, replied. Balishaha, childish. Bhatta, oh. Yuyam, all of you. Va, indeed. Adharme, in irreligious principles. Dharmamaninaha, accepting as religious. Ye, all of you who. Vrittidham, providing maintenance. Patim, husband. Hitva, giving up. Jaram, paramour. Patim, husband. Upasate, worship. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai. King Vena replied, please repeat after me. You are not at all experienced. It is very much regrettable that you are maintaining something which is not religious and are accepting it as religious. Indeed, I think you are giving up your real husband who maintains you and are searching after some paramour to worship. Purport. King Vena was so foolish that he accused the saintly sages of being inexperienced like small children. In other words, he was accusing them of not having perfect knowledge. In this way, he could reject their advice and make accusations against them, comparing them to a woman who does not care for her husband, who maintains her, but goes to satisfy a paramour who does not maintain her. The purpose of this simile is apparent. It is the duty of the Kshatriyas to engage the Brahmanas in different types of religious activities, and the king is supposed to be the maintainer of the Brahmanas. If the Brahmanas do not worship the king, but instead go to the demigods, they are as polluted as unchaste women. Okay, we'll go through the Mangala together. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kedamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakan Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Namo Om Vishnu Paraya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vatsari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So thank you everybody for coming today. It's very auspicious being at Sri Sri Radha Gopinath's temple in the association of such nice Vaishnavas and hearing from the Srimad Bhagavatam given to us by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. So we've been going through the pastime of King Vena, or this sort of studying the descendants basically of Dhruv Maharaj. And so from King Anga, this pious Raja Rishi, comes King Vena. We've discussed that pastime a few times, but yeah, it becomes apparent that King Vena isn't so pious as his father. And after installing him on the throne, the rishis, the sages, go to give him counsel because they see that he is not he's not necessarily ruling the kingdom so dharmically. He's being oppressive to his citizens and stopping sacrifices and getting very puffed up and proud because of his position. So the sages go to offer him advice, and I think so this is now the first verse of King Vena responding to that advice. So it's quite interesting because I think we've been hearing a lot from the sages and discussing like the importance of hearing from saintly people, and now we get to see the importance of how we respond to such advice. I was reading just yesterday, further on as we begin to hear more about the descendant of King Vena, which is King Prithu, a Shakti Avesh avatar of Krishna, an empowered incarnation. So he's given, it's very contrasting to King Vena, he's given the empowered with the shelter-giving potency of Krishna. So like that, he is the perfect king. He is an example of someone who can really give protection to the citizens and provide for all of their needs. So I've been reading that part of the story, and there's a point where he welcomes the four Kumaras. I won't go into it too much because we're about to get there, but in the purport, Prabhupada was explaining how King Prithu is displaying this quality of a Vaishnava, which is to ask questions to one's seniors, to inquire submissively. And that's something that we see that King Vena is not at all embodying here. Actually, it was really interesting in the purport, Prabhupada said that even if one knows everything, which is said of a pure devotee, because they have the shelter of Krishna, because they've taken shelter of Krishna, all knowledge is readily available. Like Prabhupada gives the example of if you're friends with the president, you can just call him anytime, and you might not know everything about America, everything that's happening, but because you have that relationship, at any time, if you just call the president, he'll come and tell you, what's going on. Maybe. Yeah, and like that, a pure devotee who's taken shelter of Krishna, all knowledge that needs to be revealed will be revealed. So even someone like that, a pure devotee, actually more than anyone, they embody this quality of asking questions. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Tat vidhim pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya, that we should just approach a spiritual master. So this is an instruction to Arjuna and to all of us through the example of Arjuna, that we should approach a spiritual master. But Prabhupada is saying here that even if one knows everything, even if one is a pure devotee, still that process of inquiry is so important. And the reason for that is that when one inquires from a pure devotee, there's a nice verse in the 10th canto that explains this. Just like the Ganga, Mother Ganga, which emanates from the spiritual realm. There's the whole pastime of Vamanadev, piercing the material covering with his toe. So just quickly, he approaches Bali Maharaj, Vamanadev, this incarnation of Krishna, and he humbly requests 3 steps of land. And Bali Maharaj, after some time, he happily agrees. And then Vamanadev, this dwarf Brahmana, expands, and so that with just 1 step, he covers the entire material creation. And that 1 step pierces the material covering. And when that covering is pierced, it's said that the Ganga, that's where she emanates from. And so therefore, Shri Shri Radha Gopinath Bhagavan Ki Jai. Emanating from the spiritual sky and washing the lotus feet of Sri Krishna. So already so auspicious, this spiritual river becomes all the more auspicious, having washed the lotus feet of Krishna. And then further, it's said, the topmost planetary system in the material world is Satyaloka, or Brahmaloka, where Lord Brahma resides. And so the first place that the Ganga falls is through Brahmaloka, and she passes through. And Lord Brahma is trying to, catch this flooding water and can't capture the Ganga, stop the Ganga's flow. So then all the sages and demigods, they get concerned. This transcendental river is pouring down into the material creation, and what are we going to do? And so they go to Lord Shiva, who is there in Kailash, in his deep trance, in his meditation on the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And he agrees that he will receive Ganga in his matted locks. And then she is sort of pacified and pours very peacefully and blissfully through, the beautiful Bharat Varsha. So like that, Ganga Devi, she's not only a transcendental river coming from the spiritual world, but she has washed the lotus feet of Lord of Krishna, of Lord Vishnu, has passed through Brahmaloka and Lord Brahma, and come now down onto the head of Lord Shiva. So 3, I think in the verse it says the 3 planetary systems, the 3 worlds are purified by the Ganga, in the same way she purifies, or she comes in contact, with the 3 guna avatars. And so similarly, this Krishna Katha is just like the Ganga, because it purifies 3 kinds of people. It purifies the one who inquires about such topics, it purifies the speaker, and it purifies the audience. So like that, this is the importance of inquiring about Krishna Katha, because even a pure devotee on a perfect platform where they have all knowledge available to them, this inquiry about the topics of Krishna is so purifying for themselves as well. We hear that even the Atmaramas, they are engaged in relishing the topics of Krishna. So they're always going deeper and deeper into that bliss of Krishna consciousness. And then it is beneficial as well for the general audience, the welfare of the general people. So yeah, there's a nice prayer by Dhruva Maharaj which exemplifies this. I was learning because one of my friends, we do every so often we send a pair of prayers. It's like a thing we started doing. And this one was his, and it's like you get 2 prayers from there's so many places in the Srimad Bhagavatam filled with all these prayers, and sometimes you can find a kind of little couplet which go really nicely together. And just this one, I can only remember this one, but Dhruva Maharaj says, after being touched with the concha and all of this knowledge is there, and he's having darshan of the Lord, still he's praying that Bhaktim muhu pravahatam tvayi me sango bhuyadananta mahatam amalashayanam yenagya solbanam uru vyasanam bhavabdhim neshye bhavadguna katam ritapana mataha. He says that, Lord, this material creation is this ocean of material suffering is like a vast ocean, and it's filled with constant waves of dangerous, blazing like fire. But my Lord, please, I pray that I may always remain in the association of your pure devotees, because in the association of your pure devotees, it will be so easy to cross over this ocean. Because in the association of your pure devotees, there will always be discussion of these topics, of your pastimes, your qualities, your names, your forms, your activities. Jai Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Yes, because your pure devotees are always engaged in discussing your pastimes, and therefore it will be easy for me to get out of this ocean. And he says at the end, really interesting, like, I am becoming like a madman who is intoxicated on drinking nectar after hearing about these pastimes, which reminds us of Lord Nityananda, who is the embodiment of that principle. Yeah, so this is the potency of hearing about Krishna, but also the importance of asking questions and the importance of inspiring such conversations to take place. It's so easy for us to wander into material topics because we aren't pure devotees yet. At least I am not, and so it's so easy to get caught in discussing all different types of subject matter. But when we inquire to a pure devotee as Krishna instructs, then we can receive real spiritual knowledge and engage that propensity of speaking and hearing in Krishna consciousness. Another profound example is Arjuna. Like in the battlefield of Kurukshetra, it's given that actually Arjuna already he is a pure devotee. There's no reason for him to be asking the questions that he's asking in Bhagavad Gita, but by this potency of Krishna, he's put into this bewilderment for the welfare of the general people, and so that's another example of this importance of inquiring for one's benefit, for relishing, and for the benefit of everyone. Actually, today I think is the first day of the sun moving into its, I forgot the name of the day, but what is it? Oh, tomorrow? Okay. Yeah. Maybe today or tomorrow, but the sun is moving into its more auspicious kind of setting, basically, where it is towards the northern side of the sky. And that's actually the time when Bhishma Dev passed away. And interestingly, he offered these prayers, remembering Krishna on the battlefield of Kurukshetra as that friend of Arjuna. He's often saying that there's a beautiful verse, the Sapari Saki Vacho Nishamya Madhye Nija Parayor Balayor Ratam Niveshya Stitavati Para Sainika Yorakshna Ritavati Partha Sakei Ratir Mamastu. May my mind always be absorbed in love on the lotus feet of that Krishna, the friend of Arjuna, who took, by the order of Arjuna, took his chariot, Arjuna's chariot, into the middle of the battlefield, and just by glancing over the opposite, the opposing army, he diminished the lifespan of the opposing army. And it's very beautiful prayers, actually. That there's a string of prayers by Bhishma Dev there, as he's in such an auspicious. I mean, the sun in the northern part of the sky. Krishna speaks in the Bhagavad Gita that's sort of like a method for those yogis who are controlling their life affairs, and they decide, like, if I leave at this time, with this consciousness, then I can go to that planet. I think for Bhishma Dev, maybe it's not so important because he's passing away having darshan of, the Swayam Bhagavan, Sri Krishna, surrounded by devotees, offering sweet prayers, just in complete samadhi. And he's meditating like that on the grey, scattered hair of Krishna on the battlefield, covered with the ash kicked up by the hooves of the horses. And he meditates on Krishna, who broke his own vow to keep the promise of Bhishma Dev, getting down from the chariot and taking up the wheel of the chariot, and coming at Bhishmadev like a lion comes towards an elephant. And he's got blood coming from the arrows of Bhishmadev and beads of sweat on his hair. This Supreme Lord is the meditation of Bhishmadev. It's pretty incredible to think that this absolute truth can be something so so human-like, seeming so human, having having blood and sweat and engaged in battle. There's Krishna says that one who only fools actually deride Krishna, thinking him to be a human when he comes, and they achieve neither happiness in this life nor the next. Only one who can understand the transcendental nature of Krishna's form, his appearance and activities. Janma karma cha me divyam evam yo veti tatvataha tyaktva deha punar janma naitimam eti sorjana. They at the time of death they achieve perfection, and at the time of death do not return again to this material world. So Bhishmadev is an example of that. He's meditating on Krishna in this like climactic action moment, engaged in warfare, but with complete understanding of this transcendental Krishna. We can sort of come back to this idea of inquiring submissively when we see the example of Arjuna and Duryodhana and their differing conception of Krishna, right? We're talking about how Krishna is completely transcendental, and but not everyone can see that. And in the battlefield of Kurukshetra, there's that story. There's that story in the Mahabharata about Arjuna. I don't know. I just heard recently. I think it was the Krishna Dharma version of Mahabharata translation. He was describing how Arjuna and Duryodhana, they're approaching Krishna, to get his favor for the war, the impeding war, and they're both, like, I don't know, this is how I pictured it. They're both like racing each other to get there first. Who gets to ask Krishna to be on my side, and Duryodhana gets there first, and so getting there first, Krishna's lying down on his back, sleeping, taking rest, and Duryodhana thinking, Krishna, when he wakes up, I want to be the first person he sees, stands right in front of his face. Arjuna is there at his lotus feet, right? And when Krishna wakes up, because he's lying on his back, the first thing he sees is Arjuna at his lotus feet. And so that itself is a perfect example of how we should be approaching the spiritual master, how we should be approaching Krishna by meditating on the lotus feet. Actually, I was reading from His Holiness Haladhar Swami Maharaj just a post about the importance of this meditation, absorption on the feet of the Guru. We sing every morning Shri Guru Charana Padma Kevala Bhakti Shadma. By the lotus feet of Shri Guru, one can is the only way actually that one can achieve bhakti. And we don't meditate on the lotus face of the Guru. Actually, Haladhar Swami Maharaj was saying, never should we raise our gaze from the lotus feet of Shri Guru, because the Guru is a intimate associate of Krishna. We should see the Guru like that. We should see the Guru is engaged in, we sing every morning, Nikunja Yuno Rati Keli Siddhyai Yayali Bhir Yuktira Pekshaniya. The Guru is expert in arranging the loving exchanges between Sri Radha Krishna, the very exalted platform. So we should never think that the Guru is an ordinary person. The same way Duryodhan, seeing Krishna as an ordinary person, it makes this great blunder. And Arjuna receives all, benediction, all perfection by, his proper understanding. Same way we should be always meditating on Sri Guru as, this exalted person, Sakshat Dharitvena, non-different, as good as, on the same platform as Krishna, the representative of Krishna. Because as soon as we think them ordinary, we make this great blunder, like King Vena is doing here in this pastime. Seeing the rishis as, his servants, not superior personalities, taking instruction from them, respecting the brahmanas who are the representatives of knowledge. And in that way, he then sees the Supreme Personality as an ordinary person. How can we see Krishna in his true nature when we can't even see our spiritual master, the true platform of our spiritual master? He starts saying, I am the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And it's interesting that he says, he accuses the brahmanas of accepting as religious, which is irreligious, and accepting as irreligious what is religious. I know in the Christian tradition they say that an atheist or the devil, Satan, this idea of like the antichrist or the opposite of God, is characterized by this inversion, this quality of like inverting the truth, saying the opposite of the truth, of spiritual truth. And and I think that like Satan, actually he was one of the three like main angels of God, and then he falls down or turns to the dark side. And but he was the angel of light, of knowledge, right? So it's said that the devil can actually quote Shastra. The devil can quote the Bible or the Srimad Bhagavatam for us. And so in this way, King Vena is twisting this idea of what is religious, and he is speaking in a way which sounds Shastric. We have to be very careful. He goes on to say, accuse them that they are giving up their real husband who maintains you and searching after some paramour to worship. Actually, this is something that we hear Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu say to instruct to his disciples, that you should be like an unchaste woman, and that you should be attached to your paramour. And your paramour is Krishna, the Rasa Raj, the king of all rasa, and the Parakiya rasa, the topmost of all rasas, this paramour love. He instructs to I think Rupa and Sanatan, they've been sending him these letters, like, Lord, when can we be with you? And he just sends one reply, which is one instruction, to think of him like a unchaste wife thinks of their paramour, yet remains at home and does their duties to their husband all the more attentively, because of that secret love. So like that, we are supposed to follow that instruction and practice that real sense of detachment where, we're not just externally running away from our responsibilities, prematurely trying to be a, pure devotee, but we remain in this world and we do our duties perfectly, better than we ever would have, knowing that internally we can meditate on the Supreme Lord. So like that, King Vena, he's inverting this instruction of Mahaprabhu and accusing the brahmanas of being unchaste to him. Yeah, so I just think are there any questions so far? Everything making sense? Okay. Well, we were talking about, Halodar Swami Maharaj's instruction that we should not take the Guru as something ordinary, and that we should always meditate on the lotus feet of the spiritual master, and we sing in Guru Puja every morning, the Sri Guru Charana Padma. But even when we speak about the lotus face of Guru, Guru Mukha, Padma Vakya Chitete Koriya Aikya, that we're not actually meditating on the lotus face of the Guru, we're meditating on the words, the instructions emanating from the lotus face of the lotus mouth of the Guru, the lips of the Guru. So even then we're not meditating on we're not raising our gaze, we're always fixed at the feet of the Guru, and we're receiving his instructions, which are as good as that. Equivalent to meditating on the feet is meditating on service. I was hearing recently that the dust from Sachinandan Swami Maharaj, that the dust of the feet of lotus feet of Krishna actually refers to his devotees. So when we meditate on the feet like that, we're meditating on becoming the servant of the servant, right? It's understood that if the Guru is an intimate associate of Lord Krishna, arranging these loving exchanges, then actually the Guru is, when we say that prayer, what is it? To be the servant of the maintainer of the gopis. Actually we're just saying, let me be a servant of my Guru, because the Guru is the servant. We've said in the Guru Ashtakam that the Guru is arranging those loving exchanges. He is the servant of the gopis. We even pray in Tulsi Puja to please. It's a very, very esoteric prayer, and often people wonder why did Prabhupada get us to sing such a esoteric prayer every morning. But with that proper understanding of Guru, it makes a lot of sense actually. We're just asking to follow in the footsteps of the gopis, to have a place in Vrindavan. That just means simply to serve our Guru, to be in the association of devotees, in that spiritual consciousness, that higher prayer is there and it may become manifest at some point, but we are given this incredible opportunity by the mercy, the representation of the mercy of Krishna, which is the Guru, to engage in these very exalted activities here in the material world. Okay, I'll see if there's any questions and finish up there. Thank you. Hare Krishna. Yes, Prabhu. Okay, so Prabhu was saying that we spoke about how in the Bible Satan is explained to be a fallen angel who can quote Shastra, and similarly how we have Maya Devi, who is a devotee of Krishna, a servant of Krishna, and who can also quote Shastra and divert us like that. So how to distinguish between the instructions of Maya, I guess, or from the bona fide instructions. I guess because we know that Maya can even enter into the temple, or into ISKCON, into the association of devotees. We need to be able to distinguish who is, a devotee isn't just someone who wears the devotee dress. So like that, it is difficult to discern. We have to use our intelligence, but even our intelligence is faulty. The bona fide instruction is that which is in accordance with Shastra, and with Guru, and with the sadhus. When we bring these three together, we are sort of protected from that, from going astray too far in one direction. Yeah. So by bringing questions before the guru, and by bringing questions before, saintly persons, and by cross-checking all of these instructions that we receive, not just accepting everything blindly. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Not by accepting everything blindly, but by coming before these three aspects of knowledge, sources of knowledge, then we can be sure that what we're following is correct. Yeah. Does that answer the question? Or? Yeah. Hare Krishna Prabhu. So the question is, what spiritual activities do Kshatriyas engage Brahmanas in? And what worship do Brahmanas do of Kshatriyas? Yeah, well, I guess it's the duty of the Kshatriya to ensure that everyone is following Varnashrama Dharma properly. So, by making sure that the Brahmanas have the proper, paraphernalia and that they are protected from opposing elements, so that they can execute their worship of the Supreme Personality of Godhead properly, is one way of engaging them or facilitating their worship. And what was the other question, sorry? How they worship the king. Yeah, I mean, I guess they don't necessarily worship the king. They give counsel to the king. They give direction to the king, so that they can rule properly. Yeah, but I think King Vena was saying that, because I am the representative of Krishna, I should be worshipped like Krishna, and so you should be worshipping me, which is sort of like we're saying that, sort of twisting the, yeah. Hare Krishna. Okay, we can end the class there. Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Srila Prabhupada ki, Nitaya Gaura Premanandi.